Okay, guys, today we're gonna do the setter injection using the reference types. As we can see, there are two classes I've created: the data.java class over here and the data2 over here. So basically, reference type injection happens between two classes when they have a hazard relation. Okay, they have a hazard relation type connection. Okay, the hazard relation type connection lies in the aggregation, okay, properties of core Java. So if you guys don't know about what is aggregation, let me know below if you want me to make a video of all the OOPS concept, including cohesion, coupling, aggregation, and composition. So that's the difference between aggregation and composition, as both are the part of the association. That means that gives the connection or the relation between two class over here and this one. Composition has shows a part of relation between two classes, whereas the aggregation shows the hazard relationship. Okay, so reference type injection only occurs when two classes have hazard type relationship between them. So we can see this is a class. We have the properties and attributes name, ID, and we have the get and set method, and we have this dot to string method, so that we don't have to call get name every time or get ID every time. We can just print the reference. We can call the reference to basically print the data, and we have here the data, which is this data is has the properties of this and this. So these two have to be injected, or these properties have to be injected in this class so as to get the data value, and so that we can get the total data at the output. We will be running and testing this afterwards. First, let us create the config XML file where we show the reference type injection. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's create the file object. Give the name of first. That was data, and we give the class of copy this one. No, data. We can do this with p schema. I'm gonna use the p schema right now. If you guys don't know how to write p schema, this is the syntax. Actually, using the p schema, you don't have to write the property tag and use value as element or attribute in the property element. We can remove those and write the full thing in short way by using the p schema. It's p colon the name. This name is the variable that has been used over here. This one. So colon name, and we mention the value, that is JD, and another attribute we give count. Nice. And then we create another view. This will be the reference type, data2. Oops. We have the class. Copy this. Data2. And here we're gonna mention the data with reference, that is data. Yes. So this data hyphen reference means this data variable is in reference with this class's attributes, the name and ID. So this name and ID should be injected to this data class, data2 class, so that we can get the ultimate data. So we save this, and I've created a simple save main file using the class path XML application context. We create the reference, and then we set this another reference and typecast it to the data variable, and then we print it out. So let's see what's happening. Run main. Okay, we're getting some errors. Okay, config XML. Uh, is it because of something else? Okay, that's messed up. Okay, let's go. Okay. Little mistake that I did was I done what this bean name should not be the same with this class name, because it can give error. So if I run this now, there you go. The data2 is in this data's objects have been injected to data2, and as a reference, and we get the data as data, that is JD and 10. So injection is pretty much clear to you guys. The setter injections, I guess. We have done the primitive types. Then in my previous video, those of you who haven't checked it, you can go to my playlist and can check it. And this video, I've done the reference type 2, where the two classes has a relationship. Those properties can be injected from one class to another using the reference type injection in the XML configuration file. Okay, the next step, I'm gonna do the constructor injection with the C schema and also the ambiguity problem and the ambiguity variation. Like, what is ambiguity and how does the problem occurs and how can we solve it. So let's do it in this, and let's get rid of this one and this. Okay, I'm gonna do it in data2. So let's do some name. That should be straight. Let's get rid of this. There should be a constructor. Let's create it. Okay. Source, constructor. There you go. It's constructor. String name. So this is name. We don't need this basically. So okay. Okay. Now I can go over here. I can delete this. No, we don't need this. And we can use with C schema as it is. I'm not gonna do the C schema right now. I'm gonna do it with constructor arg element. And then I'm gonna show you guys how the C schema works. So okay, we did this, and we can make a value of what is it? Shade. Save this. In main method I call this data2. So if I'm gonna run this now, there you go. So what is happening basically? Here there is no getter and setter methods, as you can see. This has been done just to return the value, so that we don't have to call the constructor again. So when you are basically doing a constructor injection, you need to basically create a constructor of the same, and I think you guys know the constructor has the same name as the class name. That is a very basic concept in core Java. Passing the parameter that has been set as a global parameter over here, the instance variable, and then we can basically, we are setting this instance variable with this one, as this dot name indicates the variable that is being connected or that is being related to the class, that means this one, and not the parameter that has been sent to the data2 constructor. Okay, so keep this in mind, that whenever there is a variable that is being reference with this, that means that variable is always the variable which is being related to the class, mainly instance variables, okay, or the global variable, what you can say as the scope one. Okay, so this is the constructor we create, and we're doing nothing but the same thing. We are just injecting this name with this file. We're getting it, we're getting the values through it, and in the main we're running a testing by just simply doing the same reference, the CT, and then we are typecasting as a data too, because it's the data to class from where we are injecting it, and then we are just printing it out. Okay, so this is a method how you can do a constructor injection. You need to have the constructor created over here and the constructor arc element tag. This we can also do this using the C schema. So let me just remove this. Or mainly first let me show you the attribute. Okay, what we can do is I can just shade. I'll save this. This is the value as attribute. I can run this, and there you go. So we can do this still, and again we can do this with this schema as colon variable name is equal to d. So okay, so okay. Mainly we need to add the C schema over here. So namespace, we have to add the C schema namespace. So let me add. I think it's the same as this one. You can just copy C, I guess. No, that's not the same thing as. Okay, sorry. Yes. Now it's okay. So we need to add the namespace, XML namespace of the C schema as we have done over here. Where is it? Yeah, this one. This URL. We have added the dependency or the package. Now we can go and run our application to test it. Okay, there you go. So we have successfully seen how constructor injection works using the normal constructor arc element, using the values attribute as well as the element, and also using the C schema as we have done in P setter injection using the P schema. So there's a difference between this and this. So next up I'm going to show you what is the ambiguity problem in constructor injection that it works. What we did was to show the ambiguity problem. I mentioned or I declare two functions with the same name. That goes for function over loading because the parameters aren't the same. So you can see two functions with the same name, or basically two constructors with the same name, going for the constructor of loading. So now if we go and I did basically a constructor argument element, and I passed the value of t6. If you see closely, first parameter is in string, and the second parameter that we pass in the second constructor is in integer. So if we pass a t6, it should pass hello integer, right? But if we run this, it shows hello string. So why this is gonna happen? Because whenever we do anything in the configuration file using the constructor injection, this 56 is identified as the string module first. So this is being called first and not this one. Now if I basically pass double and I go with this and stuff. Now okay, this one, and if I change the order, yeah, it should show integer. So you understanding, if there's a parameter that's return type is in string, it will always give the value in the string. So what doesn't matter if it is in this order are, by common sense, you people will understand that this function is gonna call, or this constructor is gonna call, and that will print the value hello double after injecting it. But if I gonna go and run it, yeah, hello str. Why is this happening? Because I said to you that always when the string is given as a parameter, this string constructor parameter always dominates over the other. So if you don't mention the type, it's always gonna print string and not the other. So if now I mention the integer or double, sorry, not integer, double, and I save it, oh, sorry. Now it's gonna print the double. Yeah, there you go. So type as an attribute, value attribute, all attributes of constructor arg element. You see, if you don't mention the type, it will always take the string parameters constructor having the string parameter, and if you mention the type, it is gonna look for the type as double as the parameter within type, and then it's gonna print hello double calling this constructor. So this is what is gonna happen in the ambiguity problem when there are two constructors having the same name. Injecting it gets a confusion which to call, then it decides to call which has been declared as the first one, and if there is a constructor having string as the parameter within type, then it always shows, always calls the string one and not the others. To manipulate this calling order, we can do it by type attribute that we mentioned in our XML configuration file. So this is for today. I hope you guys understood the basic concepts of the dependency injection. My previous video was about the setter injection. This video was about the constructor injection using the reference types. I showed you how setter injection has been done within the reference type when two classes having a hazard relationship. We can do a reference type injection over there. Then I showed you guys the constructor injection, how we can do a PC schema, not the P schema. P schema is used in setter injection. How can we do a C schema and constructor arg element without using the constructor arg element? We can do it then directly in the bean element tag. And I showed you also the ambiguity problem with the two constructors having the same name, which one to call. It always looks for the string parameter. If any constructor having string parameter, it goes on blindly and chooses that one. And if you want to manipulate that order, you can do it by type attribute. So I hope you guys can grasp the fundamental math basics of this. And if you guys have any doubts or any questions, you can comment down below or you can reach out to me. I'll be there solving the doubts. Till then, goodbye.